Okay, so hopefully you like the first video of just my BTS story, and I'm gonna try to post more here on YouTube for you all, because I do have a lot of thoughts that go on in my head that I can't put on TikTok because it's only like 60 seconds. So this next subject, I really honestly want to talk about your bias and bias wreckers, and how it is so important to really get to know the members before you choose a bias and bias wrecker. And sometimes your bias and bias wreckers will change. So if you want to hear about that, then stay tuned. Here we go. Okay, so when I first started out standing BTS, getting to know the members, I did the automatic thing. I was like, ooh, my bias is gonna be my bias because he cute. If everyone, RM was my bias at first. One, I was like, this guy is super attractive. Two, he's so smart and he's a leader, and I love leadership, and I was just so drawn to RM because of those things. And literally for like the long, like it was almost like a good 6 months, I was like, yeah, RM's my bias, like he's so smart, look at his IQ, you go Namjoon, you go. It wasn't until, and not saying that I didn't pay attention to any of the members, like I got to know them, and you know, getting to know them, I was like, oh, okay, but I just never really paid attention to them as much as I did RM, which was a huge mistake. It wasn't until there was a V Live when they had moved buildings and they all got a new studio. And it wasn't until J-Hope went on V Live to show off his new studio, and there was a question asking him, you know, is he planning on doing any collabs or anything like that. Now note this, I've already downloaded like every one of their mixtapes, like August D and, you know, RM's mixtape and Hope World, and honestly I so love Hope World. Like I'm waiting for Hope World 2. Shameless plug, I need that. You hear that, J-Hope? I need that. Anyway, so knowing, you know, how Hope World really made me feel, like I will play, not used to, I still do, I will play it in the morning. Hope World is my favorite song. It's something that when I need to get up in the morning and I need like that extra like battery boost, I will play that. I will play his whole mixtape. And he looked, and it was almost like the somber kind of look, and he's, you know, stated like he wants to do collabs, but he just didn't feel like he's really proven himself enough worthy to actually do collabs, like, you know, how Suga has done collabs and RM in that category. And when I say something, like I can't explain it, it's like I felt something in my heart break for him when he said that, and it was almost to a point where it's like I wish I could have reached through that screen and give him a hug and be like, dude, you are more than enough. Like, dude, look what you have been able to do as far as like your mixtape, people love it, you are enough. Like, go out there, get those collabs, boo. And I had never felt that connection to someone like I didn't even know, and that's when it clicked for me. Like, you need to go back and actually get to know who J-Hope was, because I really didn't pay attention to him. As far as the other members, I really didn't, and I was like, dude, you need to go back and revisit some things about him. And when I say, it was like when I started learning more about who J-Hope or Jung Hoseok or Hobi, you know, when I started learning more about him, it was like, dude, I legit found my ultimate bias. Like, legit found my ultimate bias, because our personalities were connected. We are that human battery pack, that human energy bar for our circle and for our friends. And like, I was like, where have you been? Like, and he was probably like, I've been right here, where have you been? And that's when J-Hope, it changed from RM being my bias to my bias wrecker. One, because I still have that connection as far as with RM, as far as like me loving his personality and how he commanded such leadership at such a young age, which I was drawn to. But it just, it wasn't on the same level as how I connected with J-Hope and his personality. So that's why I always tell everyone, please do not pick a bias or biased record because they are cute. They are more than cute. Get to know who they are. Get to know who their personalities, what their personalities are like. Because you think that could be your bias, bias or biased record, but you could be wrong. You could find something, with another member that you didn't find in the other. And that's why J-Hope is just like my bias, ultimate bias at the end of the day, hands down. Whatever support he needs, like, I am there for him, because he has just been such a constant as far as keeping everyone hopeful when they didn't see it. So that's why J-Hope is my bias, and that's why it is important to really sit down and get to know someone before you pick them as their bias, as your bias and bias record. So those are my thoughts on those. So hopefully you take those, especially when you're new in the K-pop community and everyone's like, oh, well, who's your bias? And you're like, what's a bias? It's just someone who you love the group. People love the group, but it's just that one person you gravitate to more. Not saying that you don't love any other members as much, but it's just this person right here is just like, that's my dude, or that's my girl. Because I do have biases in girl groups, like in Blackpink, Lisa is like my bias in there. So it's like FX, Amber is my bias too. So yeah, just make sure you think before you pick a bias. Think real hard about that. So, purple, y'all. Love you.